Hi guys, it's John back again with another model inbox review. Today we're looking at the North American P51B Mustang, and the model that we're actually looking at is the Airfix 1/72nd scale. Sorry, not the Airfix, it's the Revell 1/72nd scale P51B Mustang. There's a nice image there of one of the aircraft that's obviously in the air show circuits in the US. Boys B, I'm guessing that's what it's called. Boxing history first. The boxing history is quite short, but the model that originated, the sprues and everything originated from was actually the RAF P51B Mustang Mark III. And this kit was originally released in 1998, and it was also co-released with an additional set of sprues. Like, they were minorly adjusted sprues, basically a different cockpit canopy and a number of other different parts in the kit incorporating bombs and that aren't in my kit. Came in this box in 04137, and this kit was originally released in 1998 at the same year as the other Mustang Mark III. And I think what they did in the following year, which would have been 1999, is they still released this kit with the Thompson canopy hood, but they also produced a P51B Mustang Mark III in RAF markings with the standard hood, and that is definitely evident in my kit, and the serial number has changed to 04182, and this kit was released in 1999 at the same time as the Mustang Mark III. And this is the subject of the model that I'll be working on and doing the inbox review on today. There was one other release that came in 1999 in the same year, and that was a model, it was like a model builder set, a starter set if you like, and that incorporated 3 paints, as you can see there, and a tube of cement and a double-ended brush. Now I've actually got a couple of these double-ended brushes from the Revell sets, and they're actually really good. They're really handy. The quality on them is really good and all, and the impact adhesive is fantastic, and those acrylic paints are actually half decent. They're an awful lot better than the Airfix ones. So you can use everything in these Revell model sets, which is great. So that's the boxing history done. Not an awful lot of variants in the boxing, but the kit was first released in '98, and basically it's only been reissued in different boxing and serial numbers by 1999. Now then, that's a nice image there of an early series P51B Mustang in US Air Force service, US Army Air Force service rather. And what I want to do before I go into the actual box review is I want to just show you exactly what the options are. And we'll go through the costs when I actually go through the gumph of the kit. But basically, the options that are available in this model, there are quite a few, but they're quite interesting. The first of which we're looking at is 144 scale. This is a company called F-Toys. I've mentioned F-Toys before on a couple of inbox reviews, and F-Toys, they actually do build these kits up in plastic. There aren't many parts to them, but the actual quality of the kit is fantastic. They're really, really nice looking kits when they're finished, and I think they're all pre-painted. You just have to apply the decals on, and depending on which variant you want to, actually no, they're not pre-painted, because this set that comes here, you have optional parts for the RAF aircraft and the 2 American variants, and I think you have to paint them up, but they're really, really nice. I've seen a few of these made up in photo forms, and they're really nice to look at. So that's the F-Toys option, 144 scale. And then you have a company called Gunzai Sangyo. Now Gunzai Sangyo was the company that Revell released their Mini Wing series, and there was also a company, it was either in Italy or Spain, called Lodida, and they released this kit as well of the Gunzai Sangyo P51B Mustang. And that's the Gunzai Sangyo boxing. That's the Lodella boxing through Revell, and that is the Mini Wing series Revell boxing. Note the 21 is the same as a Lodella kit. It's actually exactly the same kit as a Gunzai Sangyo. 144 scale then goes to finish off with the Suite offering. This is a company called Suite Aviation Models Limited, and they build a P51B Mustang in US Army Air Force services, and I don't know much about Sweet models, but I do think they're reasonably good. They seem to have good reviews. You know, what you would expect to get in 144 Sweet seem to hit the nail, which is great. Now, 1/72nd scale, we have our old friend, the Academy models. Um, One of the things about the Academy model is it's a standalone kit. No, that's not true. I think it's based on something else, but I'll get into that later when we have a look. But the Academy do a model in that boxing in 72nd. Accurate Miniatures do Air Combat Legends set in 72nd scale. This incorporates a P51B Mustang and a P40N Warhawk in both kits in the same box. There's another company called Airkill. Now, I don't know a huge amount about this company, but I do know that Airkill produce a 1/12 scale Combat Warbird kit of the P51B Mustang, and I'm guessing that the kit is a multimedia format where it'll be resin, maybe some injection molded parts, maybe even some vac form and PE sets to go with it as well. But again, I don't know a huge amount about this kit, but I have seen a review on this kit and it's not bad. The guy said it built up quite nice. Don't know how much they are either, but we'll get into that as well later. But that's 1/12 scale. I don't know why it's in all with the 72nd scale stuff, but yeah, that's 1/12 scale. In 1/72nd, Airfix released P51B Mustang in that boxing, and AZ Models released a P51B Mustang in this type of boxing. Old Crow is actually one of the aircraft on the flying circuits in the US. The thing that's interesting about Old Crow is that she was actually a serving aircraft in World War II. She served the United States Army Air Force, I believe in the European theatre during World War II, so that aircraft is a true warbird. AZ Models then go to Hasegawa. Again, this is Old Crow again, with a Malcolm hood, and this kit was released by Hasegawa in 72nd in that box. And Hobby Boss also do a 72nd scale version of this kit. Hobby Boss models tend to be pre-painted, and they tend to be incredibly easy build and fast building models, and they would suit the younger generation rather than the older generation. So Hobby Boss do a 72nd scale offering in that box. Intech do a 72nd scale model with this boxing, and that's featured in a number of other kits. We'll get into that later. That covers a P51B and a C version of the Mustang Fighter. And JMK build a P51B and C Mustang again with the Townend hood, Thompson hood, sorry. And this features an aircraft built from vac form, so beware about this kit. It is a vac form kit, not an easy kit to build. JMK there with the 72nd scale, and then you have a company called KP Models. They're called KP Models often by the modelling community, but the company is actually called Kova Zavode Prostojov. I think they're made in Czechoslovakia, but don't quote me because I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure they are a Czechoslovakian company. So that's KP Models, their 72nd scale offering there. Lindbergh, of course, do a model of this kit. It's not terribly good, so if you do have one, I would sell it and get something a bit different. That's an image of the true model that's built on the box, and as you can see, it's not that good, is it? That's Lindbergh's offering in 72nd scale. Mastercraft do an offering in 72nd scale, as do Mr. Craft do an offering in this scale as well. They're both based on the same kit. We'll get into that in the jargon later on. Monogram do a standalone kit, the P51B Mustang, and so does NPC. But sorry, NPC's model, of course, is the Airfix kit produced for the Airfix US market. That's the NPC offering, and they're boxing. Revell, of course, do this kit, which we know about because we're doing the review on it. Revell Combat Set also produce a P51B Mustang with the Thompson hood, the Townend hood. I can't remember what it's called now, but this kit incorporates the ME262A1A fighter as well in the same box. SMER produce a 72nd scale kit of the P51B and C, and ZTS Plastique produce a P51B as well. That's the form lineup for 72nd scale. There are a number, of course, in 48th as well. This is the Academy offering in that style of boxing. The Academy kit is quite nice. I've heard it's based on this particular kit, the Accurate Miniatures, and the Accurate Miniatures 48 scale Mustang is one of the best 48 scale Mustangs on the market. It's probably only recently been beaten by the P51D variant of the 48 scale Airfix kit that's been released earlier this year. But if you want a B variant, you can't get any better than this model. ICM, they produce a P51B. Interestingly enough, we'll get to it later, but the Revell release of 148 is actually the ICM kit. Monogram do an Air Combat set series incorporating the FW190A series fighter and a P51B Mustang. That's in 48 scale. Quite a serious kit, really. It'll be quite interesting to get this. And this is an even more serious kit in 148 scale. Monogram released a B17G and a P51B Mustang in two kits in one box, and that would be quite an interesting kit to build. Monogram also, of course, do this kit, the P51B Mustang, and Pegasus Hobbies produce this kit in 48 as well. That's the boxing for that kit. And Pro Modeler, of course, which is the Monogram model, that's the boxing for that kit in 48 scale. Revell also obviously produced this kit, but I think, as I said before, it's the ICM model in the box. So don't get too carried away. I don't know how good it is. It's probably half decent actually, because ICM kits tend to be all right. Tamiya, of course, do the 48 scale Mustang P51B, and Tamiya also do this offering, which is an unusual scale in 1/42. This kit is incredibly detailed. It has a lot of accessible panels, and it would be an interesting build. The only problem with it is that it's like trying to get hen's teeth. It's incredibly rare and will probably fetch quite a serious amount of money. 1/33 scale, the only reason I've got this in here is because it's actually had fantastic reviews, and it's of a serving US Air Force Mustang. That was Old Crow again, but this is a paper kit. So, you know, people who have built paper kits before, there is actually a sub-out of mine that works in America, and he does quite a lot of paper kits. Frankie Day's models, try and get in touch with some of his stuff. His stuff is actually really nice. Some of the videos I've seen where he's built paper models, they're a work of art. I don't think there's something that I would like to tackle, but Frankie, if you're listening or you tune into this video, your paper models are really, really nice. Jerry Ruttman do a P51B in 1/32 scale. This kit, I think, is resin and some form of vac form parts, I think, for the clear parts, but I'm pretty sure it's a resin kit. Quite dear as well, from what I gather, but exceptionally good. 1/32 scale also is produced from Revell in that boxing. This kit's quite old, so don't expect too much from it. And also Trumpeter do a P51B in 32nd scale, and I've heard that this kit is excellent. 24 scale is produced by Hobbycraft, and this kit is actually the Trumpeter kit, which comes out in that box. So Hobbycraft and the Trumpeter model are both the same kit. I think there's a slight variation in the decals and the costings of the models on the market, so that would be quite interesting. Right, just leave you with a nice image there of the Tuskegee Airman's P51B, and what I'm going to quickly do now is just pan the camera down to the table, and we'll have a quick look at this really quite nice kit. I was quite surprised when I opened this up to have a look at it. It's very nice. This is the box we're looking at today. This is the later edition, the 04182 offering, which I think has an additional sprue in it over and above what you had with the other kit, although I'm not 100% sure because the image is the same, isn't it? And I think that the sprue that was in this kit, I think maybe in the first kit as well, but it looks like an afterthought. But we'll have a look at it anyway. If you have got the other kit, the earlier release, it would be nice to know if the kit, if the kit is the same as this one. Just pop that information in the comments for me if you have got the older edition kit. It would be quite interesting. Now then, we'll have a look at this stuff in a minute, because what I want to first quickly do is just show you what you get in the Revell model. You get the safety advice slip. This is one of the things that virtually as soon as you see this, you just fold it back up and put it back in the box. Because giving people safety advice when you're modelers of the age and the experience that some of us are out there, it's like teaching grannies how to suck eggs, isn't it? Right. The Revell instruction sheet. The Revell instruction sheet is unusual with this particular kit. Not in its format, because the format is pretty much run-of-the-mill. It's slightly shorter than A4, slightly smaller overall than A4, but the format of the actual instructions is pretty similar, except for the image on the front of the instruction sheet. Normally with Revell you get an image of the made-up kit, but this one it's just a regen of the original box art from the front of the box, placed onto the front of the instruction leaflet there. We'll open the instruction leaflet up, and basically there's not an awful lot on the first 2 or 3 pages. You've got some more information there in different languages. It's probably the same as what we had on the first page. And then you've got some safety instructions and some little keys there to show you how to interpret that's how they interpret how to do certain things, which is quite nice. Paint, one there, paint parts on the sprue, cut them off with a knife, jig your parts together, hold with a set of tweezers, and paint small parts before assembly. Lovely. And then you've got some assembly keys here, and these are the keys that tell you what to do whilst you're building the model, which is quite nice. Now then, the instructions themselves, you've got a paint list here, like typical Revell paint lists. Some of them are actually 2 different paints mixed together in various percentages, which I always find a bit of a pain in the neck, because you can never get the percentages correct, can you, unless you've got like proper eye drops with measures and everything. And then on the front page you've got one of these sprue guides, the sprue plans, which I'm a fantastic fan of these sprue guides. I think they're really, really handy for IDing small parts when you can't see the numbers on the sprues, and it's very common that happens. The kit itself builds up in 16 different sections, the last 2 being the paint and decal guides. So the kit builds in 14 and paints and decals in 2 extra sections, and they're quite easy to follow, very, very easy to follow instructions in actual fact. Section 1 is the interior, where you just put the main bulk of the interior together, and then it actually gives you a paint plan for the instrument panel, and the rudder pedals are incorporated into the underside of the dash panel there, which is handy, And then in section 2 you put the fuselage halves together. Section 3 you bore out the holes in the lower section of the wings to incorporate the fuel tanks and what are called the rocket bazooka launchers, which is quite nice. So you just bore those holes out, and then section 4 you're probably going to put the wings together, which is why you have to bore the holes out before you do that. This kit I'm a real big fan of something that is introduced on this kit, which is the 2 separate exhaust stubs. But it wouldn't make any difference if there was one set of exhaust stubs, because they're separate to the airframe, and I think that's brilliant, because what you can do is you can paint the airframe up, paint the stubs up separate, and then just push them into the location holes after the kit's been built and painted, and it makes painting these exhaust stubs an awful lot easier to get a really good finished result. The other thing that's noted on here is that the exhaust stub should slightly face downwards in an anhedral form, but you've got 2 separate exhaust stubs here, one for the RAF variant and one for the USAF variant, the USAF variant being the longer pipe stubs for the exhaust on the Packard Merlin engine. Section 5 you're putting the airframe together, it's quite easy to follow. In section 6 are some final assemblies to the underside, it's various air intakes and outlet ducts there for the intake and the oil cooler and everything, and there's an avionics pitot tube, which is quite nice. And then in section 7 you're doing wheels up, or section 8 you're doing the tail wheel down, and in section 9 you're putting the main undercarriage doors and wheels in the down lowered position. It's pretty easy. It's an easy, straightforward build, isn't it? There's not too much to this kit whatsoever at all, but the instructions are very easy to follow. And whoops, sorry about that. Sorry about that. I didn't mean to do that. I just clouted my camera. Right, the instruction leaflet on this kit, I find it very, very easy to follow, and it's very easily ID'd. All the arrows tell you exactly where everything goes and how to fit it all. It's great. Really, really nice job, Revell. Well done. And then section 10 is to finish off the propeller assembly, cockpit and various aerials. You've got an optional part here for the USAF variants with the ring aerial there. And then in section 11, 12 and 13, you're basically assembling the sub-assemblies for the underwing stores. And those are the bazooka rocket launchers. Not sure what they're for actually, but these are the drop tanks, which were a permanent feature of Mustangs because of their long range. The drop tanks enable the aircraft to fly almost to Berlin and back, probably all the way, escorting the bombers all the way. In section 15, you've got the USAF variant. This is a China-based one in 1945, quite late in the war. And section 16, you've got the RAF one, which is based in Italy in 1944. The RAF one, I'm tempted to build the RAF one. It looks quite nice. I like the look of. I've always preferred building RAF variants of two aircraft because I'm British, for God's sake. Goes without saying, doesn't it? So there we go. That's the instruction leaflets. Not much to write home. They're quite easy. They're nicely drawn and nicely laid out. I like those very much. The decals. Now then. Yeah, these decals are brilliant. They're really, really tasty. The backing film on them is virtually transparent. They are quite ridgy. They're quite thick in places. But the quality of these decals are really, really good. And you can see, I mean, look at the colours, the vibrant colours and those shark's teeth insignia, the register on the roundels and the stars and bars, they're really, really nice. And even the instrument panel there, bring it up. The instrument panel, I'll probably use that. That's quite nice. I like the look of that. And there's some small little decals there and stencils which pop on. Really, really nice decals. Are very, very, very good quality. I'm very happy with those. Now then, the parts. Let's take this bag out of the way because what I want to show you first is the transparency sprue on this kit. The transparency sprue is small, but it's only got two parts, but they're really nice. The cockpit canopy is nicely framed. It's really, really clear. It's very good quality. It's very crisp and it's a fine piece of work. And you can actually see my fingerprints. Can you see that? I'll put my little finger into there. You can see my fingerprints through that canopy really easily. So seeing the interior detail of this kit is going to be very easy indeed. And it's going to show the detailing work that you're going to do on the interior on this model very well. Sorry Bill, there's no pilot in this kit, which is a bit of a letdown for you, I know that. Sprue, we'll go through that sprue in a minute. Let's have a look at the stall sprue. The stall sprue is quite nice. The actual quality of the mouldings on those bazooka rocket launchers is really good. And I think they'd paint up really nice. The drop tanks there, they've got engraved panel lines on this kit, and the drop tanks are really nicely moulded. And those are one of the options for the exhaust stubs. They're quite nicely moulded as well, aren't they? I like the look of those, they're very good. This is the second sprue, which incorporates the upper and lower wings and the main undercarriage legs. The main undercarriage legs are quite spindly and they're quite finely detailed. And I think this is a feature of this kit, in as much that the detail on it is quite fine. It's really finely detailed. Really nice. Yeah, I like the look of those main undercarriage legs. The engraved panel lines, they are engraved. I know they look like they're raised, but they're not. They're actually engraved. My fingernail is dropping inside there, and when I run my finger over, you can't feel them very easily. The wheel well detail on that is really nice too. I like what Revell have done with this kit. It's really, really nice. You know, I've got to say that Revell in the 90s I think was a better product than Airfix. And this is no exception. This kit is really nicely detailed. That's the interior pan there. There's quite a lot going on there, isn't there? And the interiors of the wheel doors, even they're quite nicely detailed as well. Some rivets going on there. It's quite nice. I like what Revell have done. And this sprue is really, really nice. The interior of the fuselage halves, I mean, you can see there's some detail going on in the interior of the fuselage halves there, and it's not a huge amount, but it's enough, I think, for 72nd scale. Plenty going on there to paint up and enhance. A little bit of flash here and there, which I am surprised about because the kit's not that old. The other parts are quite nicely detailed as well. I mean, that's the pilot seat. One of the things that's nice about the pilot seat is it actually has straps. Can you see those? It's coming nicely into focus there. It's got the harness on the seat, which is nice. The detail on the wheels there are quite nice. Inside of the wheels they're nicely detailed as well, which is really good. And the exterior of the detailing and the riveting on the actual aircraft is absolutely spot on. I'm looking at this Tuskegee Airman P51B here in front of me, and I'm looking at this fuselage half, and every single rivet on this part I can see on that model, and every single flush riveted panel on that picture is evident on this part. That's absolutely amazing. The Mustang was actually a mild mixture of flush riveting and broad riveting, proud rivets. But it was more flush riveted than it was anything else, and it was an extremely well engineered aircraft and is arguably one of the best fighters produced in World War II. It had fabric covered control surfaces like the rudder and the elevators and the ailerons, and they're nicely reproduced in this plastic. And although you've got a nice detailed instrument panel there, you can see it just coming into focus. The instrument panel is quite nicely detailed. I don't think it's detailed enough to make me want to paint that, and I think I might be tempted to rub that down smooth and apply the decal onto that. I think the decal will look an awful lot better. The decal on the decal sheet is really nice for this kit. So that's the parts for the inbox review. We've gone through the parts. What I just want to do now to close this video down, I'll just put these parts back in because I don't really like having parts loose around the place. I like to have them all enclosed so I know that all the parts are going to stay there. I did an inbox review on a JB model Saladin yesterday. And I don't know what's happened, but one of the parts have gone walkies, and I'm guessing I'm not going to be able to get a replacement from Airfix for that one, am I? Even though they did release the kit as an Airfix kit, I don't think I'm going to get a replacement for that. I'll leave you the image of the box on there, and what I want to quickly do now is just read you the information on the kit itself. Right. The inbox review is on a Revell North American P51B Mustang, and the release date was 1998, and the kit serial number is 04182, and the model is moulded in 1/72nd scale. There are decals for two versions, one for a P51B Mustang from the 26th Fighter Squadron from the 51st Fighter Group, United States Army Air Force, based in China in 1945, and flown by Colonel Tex Hill. The second is for a Mustang Mark III from numbers 112 Squadron, Royal Air Force, based at Tantarella in Italy in 1944. The kit comprises 49 green plastic parts on 3 sprues and 2 clear parts on 1 clear sprue, producing 51 parts in total. There are a number of options and costs, and I have shown you all of the options boxing so that you can recognise them. Some of the options are very nice. In 144 scale, F-Toys do a Mustang P51B for about £3 to £4. The Gunzai Sanyo boxing is £6 to £10. The Lodella Revell boxing is £5 to £10, and the Revell Mini Wings boxing is £5 to £10. And the Sweet aircraft, the Sweet P51B, retails for about £9 to £13. The thing you have to remember is that the Lodella Revell kit and the Revell Mini Wings kit is a Gunzai Sanyo kit inside the box. In 1/72nd scale, Academy do a P51B for £7 to £10. Accurate Miniatures Air Combat set includes a P40 Warhawk and a P51B monogram kit. I think these are both monogram kits incorporated into the box, and that kit retails for between £18 and £25. The Airfix P51B is £5 to £20. The A to Z Models P51B, which is actually a KP Cavasavodi Prestegio kit, which retails for £11 to £15. Hasegawa do a model for £12 to £20. Hobby Boss's offering is £5 to £10. Intex P51 is £7 to £10. JMK's P51, I haven't got any pricing information on that. The original KB Cavasavodi Prestigio is about £12 to £15. The Lindbergh kit, which in my opinion is a waste of time, is between £3 to £10. The Mastercraft model and the Mr. Craft models are £4 to £6 and £6 to £10 respectively. The monogram kit is £5 to £10. The MPC kit, which is the Airfix model, is £10 to £15. The Revell model is £5 to £12, and the Revell Combat series, which includes the ME262 and P51B, is £20 to £35. SMER produce the Intec kit reboxed for £5 to £10, and the ZTS Plastic P51B is again the Intec kit, and that retails for £7 to £15. The other thing that's worthy of note is that the Mastercraft and Mr. Craft kits are also Intec kits as well. In 1/48, Revell produce an Accurate Miniatures it's not Revell, it's Academy, produce an Accurate Miniatures reboxing for £15 to £40, and Ace Corporation also produce an Accurate Miniatures kit, which I believe is the same boxing artwork, but on an Ace Corporation box. That retails for £14 to £30. The Accurate Miniatures model is £25 to £30. The ICM kit is £7 to £17. The Monogram Air Combat series, which includes the FW190A and the P51B, I haven't got any details of pricing on that, but I'm guessing it's going to be quite high, probably in excess of 25 to 30 quid. The Monogram Superplane set, which includes the B17G and the P51B Mustang, again it's the same story with that, probably in excess of 30 quid. The Monogram P51B kit on its own is £20 to £35. Pegasus Hobbies produce one for £12 to £20. The Pro Modeler model, which is a Monogram P51B, is released for £20 to £35. And Revell rebox the ICM kit, and that goes for about £20 to £35. Tamiya's 48 scale P51B is £15 to £20. And the Tamiya kit in 1/42nd scale, I've never seen it on sale in England, but I do believe one went for sale on eBay in the Far East, and I think it fetched in excess of 120 quid. So that 1/42nd scale kit is incredibly rare, and when you do get it, you'll probably pay quite a bit for it. The paper kits from Helinsky Paper Models in 1/33rd scale, they retail for about £20 to £25. In 1/32nd, Jerry Ruttman does a multi-format kit of the P51B. Again, I've got no pricing, but I'm guessing it's going to be over 100 quid. Revell do a 32nd scale kit, which is £25 to £45, but don't ask too much of this one. The Trumpeter model, which is supposed to be really nice, is 30 to 70 quid, depending on the condition and age of the box. And in 1/24 scale, Hobbycraft have reboxed the 24 scale Trumpeter kit and retails for £75 to £110, and the original Trumpeter kit is £7 to £100. Conclusions. Well, what I get from this kit is it looks like a very nice and finely detailed model, and it's easy to follow instructions with excellent decals and a plus of engraved panel lines. It's reasonably cheap as well and easy to obtain. You can get this kit in most model shops up and down the UK and probably throughout the entirety of Europe. And there's no issues with it whatsoever. You know, I've looked at the parts, they look really, really nice. The other options would have to be really good to beat this one. And I do know that the Airfix P51B just doesn't cut it. It's not a patch on this model. I have built the Airfix kit before, and I'm going to be honest with you, just buy a Revell one. It looks much better. The quality of the parts, the actual detail, and it's far finer in the Revell model than what it is in the Airfix kit. So that's the model in box review. I hope this video has been of some use. If you've got any questions or queries or any information on any of the other options and costs, please leave them in the comments, and I'll try and get back to you as soon as possible. If you're after a link to Frankie Day's models, you can just look him up on an a YouTube search on Frankie Day's models and have a look at some of his paper plane kits. They're really nice. I was really surprised. And as I said, if you're listening, Frankie, well done. I'm really impressed. Very well done indeed. So that's the inbox review finished. I hope this video has been of use, and I'll see you for the next video. Thanks for now. Bye bye.